How's everybody doing? Yo, call me by surprise. I'm doing my Earl Grey tea. Yes, 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 yes. I took a nap, and unfortunately, I overslept. But I guess I really, really needed, you know, some rest because I've been like hitting it running. Yes, I'm having a little Earl Grey with some cream. You know, this lovely set that I got from Dubai. This nice tea set. Ah, yeah, here we go. Very nice. Okay. Yeah, even though I got it from Dubai, it's actually Persian style. So we are now going to do Mars in Pisces and esoteric perspective. Ooh. Yeah, yeah, I gotta drink. It's 2:30, but I gotta drink tea because earlier today I had dinner and I met some clients, and oh god, we just had a drinking binge. I had like a 5 martinis, So I got home around I think 5, 6, did another reading, and then I passed out. Just passed out. So I just woke up at 1:30 in the morning. So I'm gonna do this series, then go to the gym, and then begin the new series, the Ascendant series. Thank you so much, everybody, for your donations. You all been very generous. I'm still having, issues with, taxes and stuff like that. But the money's been held, so that's good until I get it. I see it as banking. So let's see here. Let us go into the esoteric version, which of course there is none of that stuff on the air. Let me go and say thank you for those who have been donating. I have to pull the screen up. Well, I'm doing that. Let me get a tissue instead of drawing it out like that. Okay, very very good. Oops, 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 oops. Alter and let us. Okay, boom, and give my thank yous. All right, and we're gonna go into Pisces. Okay, okay, okay. Here we go. Here we go. Debbie Campbell. Thank you, Debbie Campbell. Julie Monroe. Annalisa Heller. Shafiqua Berry. And Hajkar. And Stacy Jones. Thank you so much for your donations and your payments. And now we're going to move, without further ado, into Mars in Pisces, an esoteric version. And of course, let me put on my music. Okay. And this one is Oscar de Leon. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very nice, very nice, very nice. It's balanced. With Pisces, it has to be more slower music, more contemplative, more reflective music. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Because I gotta get that all together. Alrighty. Alrighty. Now, while I do that, let me find another Oscar de Leon album. An album. And I don't think I like this one either. Uh, let's go here. Let's choose one of the more older album Huh? Oscar de Leon is from Venezuela, South America. Ooh, and the music is delicious. Again, it's salsa from Venezuela. Holla to those in Venezuela. Been morena, see, hey. Okay, let's find. Don't worry. I'm to you right. Don't worry. Let's see. Oscar con Blanco, Oscar Los Blancos. Let's see if this is the one. We say, "Been morena, see." Very Pisces, very Pisces. Okay, we're gonna stop because I like this little beat. Ooh, okay. The Mars in Pisces person or the soul, because when we talk about the esoteric perspective, we are talking about the soul perspective of any sign. Okay, understand that. So today we are going to conclude this series with Mars in Pisces, an esoteric version. Mm-hmm. Ven, ven, morena, ven, ven, mi prieta. Oscar. The Mars in Pisces soul correlates, or the Mars in Pisces placement correlates to a soul that desires to penetrate and energize all of the desires that have been held in an unconscious state over many recent lifetimes. Now that's deep. Basically, see, in order to explain this, where it makes sense, because that sentence there packed the punch. Let me make an analogy. This is my garbage pail. Okay? You see the bottles and the beers, you know? This is my garbage pail. Now, this pail represents Pisces and represents and the contents in this bin, the alcohol, the beer, the newspaper, and all that stuff represents experiences from many, many past lives. Each individual experience in here that Pisces never touched and never explored. So now, as we are on our way back to God, the Mars in Pisces says, wait a minute, before I return to God, I want to experience what it is to have a Heineken. I want to experience, that's one lifetime. And another lifetime, I want to experience what it is to have alcohol. In another lifetime, I want to experience what it is to be here, what it is to that. So basically, the entire dustbin is being pulled upside down and thrown out into the floor. So the Mars in Pisces person, or the Mars in Pisces soul, wants to experience everything in this dustbin before he returns back to God. And everything in here is based on desire, lust, and pleasure. Mars in Pisces. Okay? You all understand now? So the Mars in Pisces person is looking to descend into flesh and matter and be the ultimate whore, pardon the French, for those of you who are sensitive to the term, or be carefree, where they throw themselves into the thresholds of desire and pleasure and lust. Mars in Pisces. My stomach is a little because of all that drinking. So what I do is that I have some water. Uh, Water. Need that water, baby. Okay, so do you understand what I'm saying about that? That the Mars in Pisces soul wants to dip into the pool or take one more swim in the oceans of desire, decadence, pleasure, and soaking their royal oats before returning to the source. Because we cannot go to God with blemish. When we return to God, we got to return clean and pure without blemish. So understand that the Mars in Pisces soul is here to have a good time. He's here to have a good time. A heart. The minute I start drinking water, the flame starts coming out because water is the source of all life. So just like all day I drink to soothe the stomach and restore the electrolytes. So okay, going back to Mars and Pisces. So understand that in evolutionary terms, the Mars in Pisces reflects a soul that desires to bring to culmination an entire cycle of evolutionary development so that a brand new cycle can begin. That is Mars in Pisces. They want to consolidate every single experience that's locked up in the 12th house of the horoscope. They want to experience every single sin, desire, pleasure, so that they can move on to the next cycle, which will present a clean slate of new experiences. That's Mars in Pisces. You see, folks, it's not just the alcohol that makes me. This is just me. So understand that at this new level, in order for this to occur, the soul must now act on all the remaining desires that have been held at an unconscious level and thus not acted upon. Mars in Pisces, which is why I'm wearing white. When we go back to God, we have to go without blemish. Without blemish. Otherwise, in the pearly gates of heaven, then they go, really, bitch? You coming up here? You still got shit to do. You still got work to do. Get the fuck back out down there. Mars in Pisces. So, don't be surprised if you find many Piscean men and women that are very reckless, very irresponsible, and downright dangerous to themselves, to the environment, and to others. Understand that they're here to experience the darkest aspects of the soul, which involves the lower nature of pleasure and desire. Music, dancing, drugs, alcohol, sex. You know, and I love it. I love it. Mars in Pisces. Now, if we move away from the esoteric and go back to the mundane, uh, Mars in Pisces doesn't work very well. Mars in Pisces doesn't work very well if we are talking on the level of the mundane. And this can bring Pisces or the personality. Because when we're talking about mundane, we're talking about the ego and the personality. When we're talking about the esoteric, we're talking about the soul. Two different modalities of being. The ego and the personality is the lower nature, while the soul is more altruistic and seeks to leave and shed the ego and the personality behind and go back to the source to then return as a healer, as an ascended master, or if you got karma, again, the dustbin, and that's not cleared, then you've been slapped, bitch slapped back to earth to, to deal with karma. Mars in Pisces. Oh, that's all I drink. When you drink a lot at one period, the mucus accumulates again. And the water. I took some sour sap, and that is, it doesn't allow it to stick to the lungs. Now, if I would have continued drinking, and not drink water, it would have stuck, and I would have had that awful cough. You know, because alcohol dries you. See how the sides of my mouth is white? No, the alcohol does, it dries you of its water. Thank God that I know what to do to put it back. Okay, water. Pisces rules water. This is life, the bringer of life, where everything began. The water. Okay, Mars in Pisces. Now, let's go back and talk about what it is that the Mars in Pisces soul has to do in order to shed all the desires of the ego and the personality that it did not tap into or touch upon in its series of incarnated journeys. An example may be the soul never tried being bisexual. The soul never tried being homosexual. The soul never tried dying from a plane crash. The soul doesn't know what it is to kill a human being and what that feels like. So people born with Mars in Pisces are here to go through shit and also experience shit and do shit that they've been wanting to do. Maybe you've been wanting to kill somebody and didn't have the guts to do it. So now you're born with Mars in Pisces, and now you're put in a position where now you take someone's life, and you know how that feels. Mars in Pisces. You're here to experience that which you were too terrified to experience in other lifetimes. So now in this lifetime, there's a consolidation of accumulative of experiences that you did not touch upon. And now you want to feel what they are and experience them one more time, one last time, before returning to God without blemish. Mars in Pisces. An esoteric perspective. Okay. Okay. So now moving along, we have to now decide how healthy it will be to tap into these experiences that the soul has never experienced. That now it wants to bring with it as a form of a package to the Creator. But what is he or she going to do with those experiences? We don't know as humans where all of this is going. When we return to God, then what? Do we come back and do it all over again? We have no idea when you have Mars in Pisces. All right. So understand the vibratory nature of this position. Okay. Yeah. All these desires have to be purged. It's a form of purging. So if you're born with Mars in Pisces, you're here to soak your royal oats. Give sin and desire one more time, one last try. And if you haven't had any of these desires, experience them, then you're here to experience them for the first time. And that could be exhilarating, wonderful, but it can be terrifying as well. For these are new experiences that the soul should have experienced in its journey here on earth that it did not touch upon, that now it wants to experience before merging back to the Creator. Now, also understand. Oh, 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 oh. Okay. Now, yeah, the music. I put the music on. It would, Okay. Now, how do I put this in a way that it's more? Yeah, the soul has to act upon the remaining desires that it didn't touch upon. Yeah, that's for real. That's for real, boss, folks. Um, at the same time, though, for the soul, for the desires to manifest of the person born with Mars and Pisces within their own subjective consciousness, something has to be stimulated, and that it's an organ in the brain, the pineal gland, which of course is in the center of the head but goes down and parallels the third eye. Okay, now this is really really deep because this gland secretes a hormone called melatonin. Melatonin does many things within the brain, including the inducement of images that emanate from imagination and fantasy. Now here's newsflash, and now I hope you're sitting down. I hope you're sitting down, and I hope you take diligent notes about what I'm about to say. And this might frighten some of you. So let me see how I'm even going to put this. Because this could be dangerous what I'm about to say. And I was already sanctioned because of the Mars in Aquarius. So let me see how I'm going to put this where it doesn't cause me problems. Oh, yeah. Me chilling. Chilling. Me chilling. You put fast-paced music and it's impossible for me to stand still. The Venus in Leo and Jupiter in Leo in me wants to get up and start dancing. Okay. Boy, how do I begin to explain this? The nature of the images, which is the fantasy that's induced by the production of melatonin by the pineal gland, is an illusion. The fantasies that the Pisces or the Mars in Pisces has, and some of these fantasies can be wicked. It could involve having sex with your brother and you're a sister, that's your brother and you're a girl. It could be incest fantasies. It could be romantic fantasies of fucking your professor or fucking the short order cook at a five and dime, or having sex at an airplane, or having sex underneath the table in a public restaurant. All kinds of erotic, homoerotic, or heteroerotic fantasies that stimulate the imagination. This occurs at the secretion of melatonin by the pineal gland. When the man starts to have these fantasies, the brain automatically begins to secrete this melatonin, and this it's like a flush that affects the afferent nervous system and the central nervous system to ways of electronic bypathways and synapses. which is also part of the efferent and afferent nerves. This allows a euphoric sensation to move towards those fantasies and actually make them real. Because the power of mental fantasy and imagination is unlike any other when you are born with Mars in Pisces. Understand that Mars is the active planet. Mars represents energy, active energy, movement. Like in the car, the aspect of Mars are the wheels, both inside the steering wheel and the wheels of the car. If we're dealing with an animal, a horse, the active part of Mars of that horse are the legs. If Mars is in Aries, the functional aspect of Mars in Aries is the head, the sight, the hearing, the smelling, the speech, what you say, how you look at someone. It is the will. In Taurus, Mars here represents movement of earth, the movement of mountains, the earthquakes, mudslides. Mars in Gemini, the function of Mars aspect of Gemini is what it says, what it comes out of its mouth. That can be dangerous and deadly. The functional aspect of Cancer with Mars is the emotions. The emotions are charged, angry, usually with Mars in Cancer. Mars represents the god of war. So these are not going to be positive attributes. Mars in Virgo drives the Virgonian towards work and service and be untiring. Those are the wheels and legs of Virgo. It's devotion to service and dedication to service and not moving beyond that or past that. Mars in Libra is symbolized by the functional aspect of Mars colliding with other human beings. Think of Kelly Dowd from the Housewives of Orange County. And think of Mars in Libra. That's an example of Mars in Libra. Where, the actress playing, herself, Kelly Dowd, in Desperate Housewives of Orange County, she collides with everybody. She's angry with everybody. And her anger is vicious. Vicious. Cruel. Mars in Libra, where they wage war on the partner or on those around them. Mars in Scorpio goes inward and becomes sneaky, insidious, secretive, with no care for the rights of others, and brews much like a cockroach that hides and only comes out at night or when there's food left around. Mars in Scorpio. Mars in Sagittarius, where I have it, makes me want to travel. Travel in my mind or travel physically. Well, I just came back from Dubai and Abu Dhabi. In a couple of months, I'll be in Brazil and then Tahiti. I'm constantly traveling, and I've been like that since I was 4 years old. Okay? So the energy of Mars in Sagittarius is expressed with me sitting by the window, daydreaming of being in a plane flying somewhere where all is happening, where things are better there than there are here. Or actually being on a plane and feeling the plane take off, and I'm on my way to another land, and oh, guys, beautiful, it's exhilarating. Mars in Sagittarius. Mars in Capricorn, the functional energy of Mars is to drive you towards success, ambition, status, and earthly material wealth, and dominion of it, and people too. Mars in Aquarius correlates a soul with rebelling against society, rebelling against self, rebelling against the universe, and then going back to union, and then back again. A tug and pull. But when we have Mars in Pisces, the energy goes towards the pineal gland, which secretes this melatonin. So now the Mars in Pisces person, all they want to do all day and all night is have fantasies. Powerful, deep, 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 deep fantasies. So powerful they are that they actually become real. Mars in Pisces. We will reach 30 minutes. I give you 1 minute break for the boys' room and for you. So like Wendy Williams says, take a break. What is it? Come on back. No, get a snack and come on back. Okay. Okay. Sorry, that was 2 minutes and 42 seconds. Got some more water. I also gave you an extra minute so you can think about what I said so it can sink in. Okay. Yeah, deep, isn't it? Mars in Pisces. Pretty pico ping pong. Okay, so now having said that, understand that if you're dealing with a man or a woman with Mars in Pisces, they have a powerful, powerful sense of imagination, unlike any one of us have experienced in our own mental constructs of what fantasy and imagination entails. Our melatonin secreted by the pineal gland is not a high concentrated dosage as it is with Pisces. We're talking about a high grade tincture that, if you put too much, can make you mentally insane. You know? So this is like some deep shit. Some deep shit. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. So now, having said that, the nature of these images. Oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Sorry about that, guy. Uh-huh. I'm having a little malfunction here. A little malfunction, but nothing that cannot be fixed. Just give me 1 second. Give me, hold on. Let's see, hold on 1 second. Um, these natures and images are so strong with the Martin Pisces person that they seem so real. Okay, you have to understand that the nature of these images and of these imageries. What can I say? Correlated to past life dynamics and past life experiences that the Martin Pisces person thinks they're fantasies. This becomes more complicated. The fantasies of Pisces are not made up fantasies like he thinks they are. A lot of these fantasies that the Martin Pisces person has are actual experiences that took place in past lives. You see, because the pineal gland, when it secretes this melatonin, it gives you the sense of euphoria is so strong, so powerful that you really think that they're fantasies based on your own mental constructs. No, it isn't. Many of these fantasies are actual experiences that actually took place in other lifetimes. Now let that sink in, because that's deep. That's deep. Pisces. Those of you born with Mars in Pisces. The fantasies that you think you're having are not fantasies. They're stuff that you did and engaged in other lifetimes. Now, consciously, when you do develop fantasies in the current life, let's say you're walking down the street and you see this woman and she looks fine as fuck. You go to your room as a horny teenage boy and you jerk off as most teenage boys do, thinking about this girl. Well, the more you do that, the more the fantasies and the images will appear so real that you will lose distinction between the reality and the fantasy. And sooner or later, because there's so much overstimulation and oversecretion of the pineal gland with this melatonin running in your bloodstream, it affects the limbic system of the brain. So now a distortion of reality and fantasy. If this is fantasy and this is reality, the oversecretion of melatonin is doing this. So now it's putting reality and fantasy on the same platform where you cannot tell the difference of what's real and what's not real. Be careful of your thoughts when you're born with Mars in Pisces. Let that sink in. Because I read that, pack the punch too. I hope they don't censor this. I hope they don't censor this. Okay, let's put another notation here. Put that here. Put that here. I'm back with my Tito. Okay, so wow, there's still so much to fucking cover. I can't believe this. Let me see. What am I gonna talk about next? There's so much points. It's hard to put everything in 1 hour. Para mañana. Okay, so understand. Okay, that with those boundaries and meshing, this can be very powerful. You can literally bring into manifestation your thoughts with this type of powerful base position of Mars in Pisces. You don't have to do anything. It's like Jesus Christ. He would touch things and it would be a miracle. The bread, breaking the bread and making the loaf of bread into hundreds, a fish into thousands of fish. The magic, touching the water and turning it into wine. By the mere power of the thought, now this water is wine. Do you see what I'm getting? And Jesus brought about the Piscean age, Mars and Pisces. So understand that with this position, uh, within itself, these images real these imagined the nature of these images. Let me put it that way. Are ever changing and shifting. Okay, and when that begins to happen, the person loses perspective of reality. Mars, Pisces. Para mañana. It might be too loud. I don't want you guys to hear it over what I'm talking about. Cause my guys are telling me they're bopping with you because they're hearing the music. So okay, so let me lower it down so that you can focus in the material. Okay. So understand that these imagined realities, okay, I mean, how can I put it? How am I gonna phrase this? And I made notes. I'm reading my own notes, but I don't know if it's gonna come out the way I wrote it. Uh, See, within itself of the person, the imagined realities are quite real. Even though you imagine these realities, oh God, they are real. Understand that you are making them real. This is the God aspect of you. It says in Psalm 84 that we are also gods and that we can create. Hint, hint. We were cast out of the garden so that we don't eat from the tree of life, so we don't become as gods. It's in Genesis. This is the Mars in Pisces. If we awoken to our own divinity, we don't need Jehovah. We can transcend the demiurge. But until we are completely awakened as a collective, we will always be under the cloak of such a deity. Mars in Pisces. Okay. Okay. Also understand that within again the Mars is, these I cannot stress it how real these images are. To others, these imagined realities can seem quite unrealistic, even though to the Mars in Pisces soul, they are real. They are real to the extent that the Mars in Pisces believes in them. And what did I say? What do I have on my website? What's my slogan on my website? Money is not power. Knowledge is not power. Belief is power. Belief is power. Let that sink in. Okay? It's all about belief. I'll give you an example. I got diagnosed with HIV in 2004. Was on meds, almost died a few times, until one lady came and she said, a Scorpio woman, I'm going to cure you of this disease. And she did all kinds of prayers, and it took weeks. And I had no idea that she was doing this prayer. And she came to me one day and said, stop taking the meds, you are cured. I didn't believe her. Get out of here. And I kept on taking the meds for years. to the point where I had extensive kidney damage because these meds are very poisonous to the body. And then my guys are telling me, why don't you stop taking these meds? You don't have the virus. And it got to the point where other people started telling me, you don't have the virus. We don't feel it in you. We don't see it in you. And you must know this yourself. Then I started to think and I started to meditate. Because I used to feel the virus in my body and I used to talk to it. But I didn't hear it and feel it in my body anymore. I stopped taking the meds. To this day, it's been 3 years since I've not been taking my meds, and I look finer and better than ever. The pains and side effects that I was having have disappeared. The doctors don't know what's going on. I have been cured. When I started to believe it, that's when I became completely healed. Understand the power of belief when you're born with Mars in Pisces. And I've got now a new lease on life. And I guess that's why I'm so happy. Most of my friends, unfortunately, have died. Pisces represents the ending. And death is part of that ending, that transition. But I've been given a longer leash. Mars in Pisces. So take from my story. So if I can do that, you can cure cancer. You can cure diabetes. You can cure anything that's wrong with you just by the power of belief. Mars in Pisces. Because it's coming from the soul level. And that's God in you. Okay. 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 And here is where we have the dichotomy or the paradox of two fishes going in opposite direction. Because to the outside observer, the Martin Pisces person seems lazy, stupid, unrealistic, and a waste of time. I feel for the person with Mars in Pisces because they get treated very badly. They're not understood. Pisces is the most misunderstood sign in the zodiac, but of course, it's also the most mysterious. It's all 12 signs in one. To this day, to this day, many astrologers are not completely clear as to all the mysteries of Pisces, all the 12th house. The 12th house, which belongs to Pisces, is the most misunderstood house in astrology. And among professional astrologers, it is still a house very poorly understood. And this makes sense because we've been to space. We got space stations in space, but we have yet to go to the depths of the ocean. We don't know what's down there. The pressure is so strong down there that no human vessel can go down there. Okay, the Mariana Trench, yeah, but they call it a trench. It's not the ocean floor in itself. Our planet has a circumference that's off the charts mathematically. Understand the power and mystery of the ocean when you're born with Mars and Pisces. It demands respect. So we don't understand, and I don't think we will understand all the mysteries of Pisces. Like we will never understand or go to the depths of the ocean. It's too dangerous. We will be crushed to death. No apparatus, the machinery can survive that pressure. Even when we went down to the Mariana Trench, it was only for 10 minutes. I think less than that. The window started to crack. They had to ascend back, and it took time because going up will kill you too. Understand and have respect for the power of the ocean and nature, which correlates to the sign of Pisces. This same mystery is in us as well. We are in a deep ocean of mystery. Because every man and woman is a universe unto themselves. That is an ocean. Let that sink in. Because I might need a drink of all that. No, but the water is just good. So understand what that means to be born with Mars in Pisces. Okay. Uh, mm, there's so much to cover about Mars in Pisces. I will have to do literally 10 parts in the esoteric. 10 parts to get it fully. I'm not contracted to do that unless I get it privately by you guys that order it. But it's a lot to discuss here. Um, the Mars in Pisces soul can seem ungrounded, as if they are not quite all here to others. And that's why, a lot of people don't take Mars in Pisces people seriously. And that's a shame. Because we can learn a lot. We can learn a lot from the Mars in Pisces individual. Can teach us about what it is to imagine, what it is to believe. Okay. So, here's the thing. The Mars in Pisces soul believes so much and so deeply in their fantasies and in their visions that they would try to convince other people to believe them too. This was the situation with Jim Jones, Jonestown, who had Mars in Pisces and convinced people of his vision, and he did, and then slaughtered them, killed them. So understand that that's one fish, and then that's the other fish. Mars in Pisces can be very dangerous if you are attached to an ideology like that of David Koresh or David Koresh and from Waco, Texas, that killed all these people, 40 of them children, in that Waco fire, Texas. Or David Applewhite from Heaven's Gate, who made his devotees drink a barbiturate to commit suicide because the soul can go into a spaceship and fly off somewhere. This is all Mars and Pisces gone awry. Be careful of your thoughts and the philosophy that you ascribe to when you're born with Mars in Pisces. So, having said that, the Mars in Pisces, operates beyond or above the normal time-space continuum through which most people are defined. That means that the Mars in Pisces person can actually bend the fabric of space-time with his thoughts or her thoughts. That shit is fucking deep. That shit is fucking deep. That's fucking deep. Damn it, I can't fucking get a drink. That shit is fucking deep. It just gave me cold chills all over. That shit is deep. If that's not got in you, what the fuck is it? Mars, Pisces. Think of Albert Einstein, who was a Pisces. Ah, fierce, fierce. Okay. As a result of this power within the Mars and Pisces person, the imagination of the soul carrying Mars and Pisces is not limited by the awareness of most other people. This is a very interesting dynamic because on the one hand, Mars in Pisces has the inherent power to manifest and make real the power of belief, their desires within the unconsciousness that appear as initial imagination, but as you give it more thought energy and it becomes from abstract thought to concrete thought, it takes on form and becomes real. I gotta stop here. I gotta stop here. Remember to donate. And if you want readings, I'm available 347-485-6258. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. We are done with this series. We are now going to begin at 4 o'clock. We will begin the new series, Ascendant Signs. Stay tuned.